Probability of one event. A bag contains 5 red and 10 blue marbles. One marble is picked at random from the bag. What is the probability that it is blue? There are 10 blue marbles and there are 5 red, so that makes 15 marbles in total. The desired outcome is that we pick a blue marble from the bag, so the probability of getting a blue marble is the number of blue marbles divided by the total number of marbles. Or a shorter formula for probability is probability equals want divided by total. So we want a blue marble, we want the probability of it being a blue marble, divided by the total number of marbles. So there's 10 blue marbles, so our numerator is 10, divided by a total of 15 marbles, because 5 plus 10 is 15 marbles, so 10 over 15, which simplifies to 2/3. And this can be changed to 0.67. So it's really 0.6 recurring, but we can round it off to 0.67 if we wanted it as a decimal. A fair 6-sided die is thrown. So the die is fair, which means it's unbiased, which means we have an equal chance of landing on any of the 6 sides. What is the probability of rolling an even number? Well, there are 6 possible outcomes when you roll a dice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. 3 of these outcomes are even, 2, 4, and 6. So the probability of rolling an even number on a die is, so probability of even equals number of outcomes that are even divided by the total number of outcomes. Or we can say probability equals want over total. So we want the probability of landing on an even number, so we're going to put the amount of even numbers as our numerator, divided by the total number of options. So there are 3 even numbers, 2, 4, and 6, so 3 is our numerator, divided by a total number of 6 options, so 3 divided by 6, which is a half. This can also be written as 0.5. So the probability of rolling a die and landing on an even number is 0.5, and the probability of rolling a die and landing on an odd number is also 0.5. Because when you roll a die, you can either land on an odd or an even number. There are no other options, and probabilities must always add up to 1. So the probability of landing on an even number is 0.5, and 1 minus 0.5 is also 0.5, so the probability of landing on an odd number is 0.5. So in another example, let's say the probability that it was going to rain tomorrow was 0.7. That would mean the probability it's not going to rain tomorrow is 0.3. If the probability it was going to be sunny tomorrow was 0.1, then the probability it would not be sunny tomorrow would be 0.9. If the probability that there would be hailstones tomorrow was 2 over 7, then the probability that there would not be hailstones tomorrow would be 5 over 7, and so on. So the probability of an event happening and the probability of an event not happening must always add up to 1. A card is drawn at random from a standard pack of 52 cards. What is the probability that the card drawn is a jack, a heart, or a picture card? Part B, a card is picked at random from all the red cards. What is the probability that it is a king? Okay, so let's start with A. We want to figure out the probability that if we choose a card from a standard pack of 52 cards that we end up getting a jack. Remember, probability is what we want over the total. So we want the probability that it's a jack, so we want the number of jacks to be our numerator, and the number of jacks in a pack are 4, and the total number of cards in a pack are 52, so our probability will be 4 over 52. So the probability of choosing a jack, the number of cards that are jacks, there are 4 of them, divided by the total number of cards in a pack, there are 52, which simplifies to 1 over 13. Next is a heart. So, how many hearts are there in a pack? The number of cards that are hearts are 13, divided by the total number of cards, 52. 13 divided by 52 is a quarter. And that makes sense because a quarter of the pack are hearts, because there are 4 different suits. There are clubs, hearts, spades, and also diamonds. Probability that we choose a picture card. Well, the number of picture cards is 12. There are 4 jacks, there are 4 queens, and there are 4 kings. And 3 times 4 is 12. So there are 12 picture cards in total, divided by the total number of cards, which is 52. And 12 divided by 52 is 3 over 13. So part B, a card is picked at random from all the red cards. What is the probability that it's a king? A card is picked at random from all the red cards. What is the probability that it is a king? It is important to note that we are selecting a card out of all the red cards in a pack of cards. So the probability that it's a king is going to be the number of red kings, which is 2, divided by the total number of red cards in the pack, which is 26. And 2 divided by 26 is 1 over 13. We know that the probabilities of all outcomes for a particular experiment add up to 1. In a certain experiment, the probability of an event is 0.35. Here's a probability scale. This is 0. This is 1. So this is where 0.35 would lie. Therefore, the probability of the event not happening is 1 minus 0.35, which is 0.65. So again, this is 0 on our probability scale. This is 1. So all of this here, highlighted in red, represents 0.65. So the probability of the event happening, so the probability of E, the probability of the event happening, is 0.35, and the probability of the event not happening, so the probability of not E, not the event, is 0.65. The probability of something not happening is always going to be 1 minus the probability that it will happen. So probabilities must always add up to 1, just like relative frequencies must always add up to 1. A fair spinner shown is spun. So it's fair, which means it's unbiased, which means we have an equal chance of landing on any of the sectors. What is the probability that the spinner will not land on a red sector? Well, there are 4 possible outcomes: green, red, orange, or blue. So green, red, orange, or blue. So there are 4 possible outcomes in total. The probability that the spinner will land on a red sector is going to be 1 over 4, because there's 1 red sector out of a total of 4 options. So 1 over 4. 1 outcome out of 4. The probability of the spinner not landing on a red sector is the number of outcomes that are not red, so green, orange, and blue, so 3, divided by the total number of outcomes, which is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the probability of it being red is 1 and 4, or 1 over 4. So the probability of it not being red is 1 minus the probability of it being red, which is 1 minus a quarter, which is 3 quarters.